Good evening and welcome. I want to welcome everyone here for coming to this celebratory dinner. I want to welcome our alumni, our faculty, and our students. And for those who do not know me or do not recognize me with gray hair and in this particular garb, I am Leo Romero, professor and former dean of the law school, and now retired as an emeritus professor. Oh, so, yeah. Yeah, retirement is good. I'm really glad to see so many of you here, many of our former students of mine. And this event began 50 years ago to recognize, honor, and celebrate the achievements of our alumni. Our graduates have contributed in many ways, helping clients resolve their legal problems, serving the state as judges, prosecutors, defense lawyers, government attorneys, and legislators. The idea for an awards dinner came from the Law School Alumni Association. The then president of the association came to me when I was dean and pitched the idea of an awards banquet to honor our graduates and to raise money for scholarships. Agreeing with this suggestion was a no-brainer, so in the fall of 1993, the law school and the Alumni Association began a tradition of honoring people who have served in the legal community in a significant way and to honor them at an annual dinner and awards ceremony. The Distinguished Achievement Awards dinner celebrates notable accomplishments and dedicated service by lawyers and others in the legal community. This contributions to the law school, to the New Mexico legal community, and to the greater community inside and outside of New Mexico. The Alumni Board solicits nominations and then selects those to receive the awards. Over 70 honorees, more than 7,000 attendees, and hundreds of sponsors have participated in this event. The dinner has raised over $500,000 for the Alumni Association scholarships. The 2023 awardees are Benny Naranjo, Alicia Gutierrez, and former Chief Justice Judith Nakamura. And the Alumni Promise Award, the Alumni Promise awardee is Larissa M. Lozano. At this time, please welcome the UNM School of Law Alumni Association Board President, Matthew Beck.
Good evening. Welcome to the 2023 Distinguished Achievement Awards Dinner. My name is Matt Beck. I'm a member of the law school class of 2012 and UNM School of Law Alumni Association Board President. I am honored to welcome you here this evening. On behalf of the Alumni Board, I thank you for being here. We are grateful to have so many people gathered together in celebration of our amazing law school community. It is exciting for us to see so many distinguished members of the bench and bar here tonight. We want to thank you all for joining us tonight to celebrate the inspiring careers and accomplishments of this year's very deserving honorees. I would like to thank and recognize the members of the Distinguished Achievement Awards Dinner Committee who are listed in your program, and especially committee co-chairs Samantha Adams and Steve Scholl. I'd also like to recognize past members of the Alumni Board whose very very hard work and dedication have paved the way for myself and my fellow board members. Thanks to the foundation that you have laid, we are now able to provide over $75,000 in scholarships each and every year. Would current and former members of the UNM School of Law Alumni Board please stand to be recognized? Also, a big thank you goes to Dean Carey and the law school staff who have worked so very, very hard for this event. I'd like to recognize our many sponsors this year. With your help, each year, this event strives to generate even greater proceeds than the year before, all of which go towards supporting vitally important scholarships and many more at the law school. I'll now hand things over to Dean Camille Carey. Please join me in welcoming Camille Carey to the stage.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Camille Carey, Dean of the UNM School of Law. It is a great pleasure to welcome you to the 2023 Distinguished Achievement Awards Dinner. Thank you for joining us tonight. We truly appreciate your support of the school and our students, and I am so impressed by tonight's extraordinary honorees. Please join me in a round of applause recognizing our amazing honorees. I would also like to take a moment to acknowledge our previous Distinguished Achievement and Promise awardees. Would our previous Distinguished Achievement and Promise awardees please stand? Each of our honorees has touched the lives of countless students and alumni and has given so much to the UNM School of Law community and to our greater community. As Matt, our alumni board president, did, I also want to thank our generous sponsors. Thank you to our presenting sponsors, Adams & Crow and Dixon, Scholl, and Carrillo. Thank you to our memento sponsor, Parnell Law, and thank you to our beverage sponsor, Batley Family Law. Please take a moment to view in your program and on the screen above all of our sponsors who have helped us raise scholarship funding through tonight's event. Please join me in a round of applause to thank our sponsors. I also want to thank the board of the Law School's Alumni Association for making tonight's special event possible. The Law School's Alumni Association raises $120,000 each year through this dinner and the Law Scholarships Golf Classic for student scholarships. Each year, the Alumni Board helps raises money for 3 full tuition scholarships and other critical scholarships for law students. Alumni Board, thank you so much for everything that you do for our school. I truly offer my heartfelt thanks. Please join me in another round of applause for our Alumni Board. I'd like to ask every member of the Alumni Board to please stand once more. Sorry, getting your cardio tonight. Alumni Board members, could you please stand one more time? Thank you. I'd also like to recognize the members of our 75th anniversary steering committee who worked tirelessly in the last year to help us celebrate our Diamond Jubilee. Members of the 75th Anniversary Steering Committee, could you please stand? I should have warned you there would be a lot of clapping. I'd also like to recognize our class ambassadors for helping keep our alumni connected to each other and the school. Class ambassadors, please stand. I'd also like to thank the law school's wonderful staff who put together such a successful evening, especially Courtney Holmes and Lynn Taylor. Thank you very much. Finally, thanks to all of the servers and other staff working here this evening, making this night a success. To all of you here, please accept our heartfelt gratitude for all that you do for our law school. It is truly amazing. Our law school community is a special, close-knit community unlike any other law school, and we treasure all that you do to make this school such a special place. Thanks to all of you for being here. It's really important and it's very meaningful. Thank you. So the formal program will begin in a few minutes. Until then, please enjoy your dinner, and thank you again for being here and your support of the school. I hope you have a wonderful evening.
so I think it's time to go on with our program. And in order to keep this event within a reasonable time, I will only highlight the achievements of our awardees, and you will find more details about each one in the program. The Alumni Promise Award this year goes to a passionate young lawyer, Larissa Marie Lozano, class of 2016. Larissa is a proud 18th generation New Mexican. That is impressive and might exceed my family's presence in New Mexico. But I've never counted, so I'll leave it as that she's got the record. During her undergraduate years, she lived both in Seville and Madrid, Spain, where she worked at El Centro Hispano Paraguayo, an organization set up to help new immigrants adapt to Spanish society. After graduating from Trinity University in San Antonio, Texas, Larissa returned to New Mexico to attend the UNM School of Law. She was an editor of and published author in the New Mexico Law Review, a member of the School of Law Admissions Committee, and a member of the Hispanic National Bar Association Moot Court Team, where her strong writing and advocacy was awarded top honors for Best Written Brief. Larissa remains an active alumna and recently served as class ambassador for the school's 75th anniversary celebration. Larissa is the owner and attorney of Lozano Law Firm, based in Albuquerque, where her practice is focused on civil rights violations, sexual violence, wrongful death, and personal injury. Her work has also included litigation of claims involving employment and medical malpractice. She's worked on a myriad of complex issues, including cases challenging U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement and Homeland Security for unlawfully targeting and arresting immigrants outside of courthouses in New Mexico. Larissa is also passionate about uplifting others in our community. She's the former vice president of the New Mexico Hispanic Bar Association and a former board member of Cuidando los Niños. Currently, she is a commissioner for the Hispanic National Bar Association's Latina Commission and serves on the boards of the New Mexico Center on Law and Poverty and the New Mexico Trial Lawyers. She's also a governor for the American Association for Justice, and in 2020, she was recognized by the National Trial Lawyers with its top 40 Under 40 award, and in 2021, she was recognized by Albuquerque Business First with its 40 Under 40 award, which honors the best and brightest young professionals in New Mexico. So please now direct your attention to the screen for a little bit more about Larissa M. Lozano.
My name is Larissa Lozano, and I am a 2016 graduate of the UNM School of Law.
The UNM Alumni Promise Award honors individuals who are products of the great education at the University of New Mexico School of Law. It also recognizes those individuals for their excellence in the profession, their commitment to the profession, and their desire to give back not only to the legal community, but also to their community in general. I am proud of Larissa because she has continued that dedication and commitment to her communities. She previously sat on the board for Cuidando los Niños. She currently sits on the board for the New Mexico Center on Law and Poverty. She is still involved with the Hispanic National Bar Association and sits on their Latina Commission. She lives by example, and she has been gracious with her time and her talents in giving back to the law students, to incoming law students, and to students who are considering going to law school. Larissa, thank you so much for allowing me to speak on your behalf. I wish you all the best, and I look forward to your continued success.
So please join me in honoring the 2023 Alumni Promise awardee, Larissa M. Lozano. Would you please come up to receive your award? Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Oh.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening and welcome, distinguished guests, respected colleagues, esteemed faculty, family, and friends. My heartfelt congratulations to Justice Nakamura, Benny Naranjo, and Alicia Gutierrez on their recognitions tonight. You have made remarkable contributions to the legal profession and represent the best of us. I am honored to be standing in front of you this evening, but I have not arrived here alone. I am backed by the power of an incredible group of advocates, counselors, and supporters. To my parents, who have provided constant support and who have made sacrifices to ensure I was exposed to different experiences and outlooks, words do not suffice to express my gratitude. You have taught me that it is our responsibility and privilege to use our gifts to uplift others. Thank you for being examples of what it means to live life well. Though my grandparents are not physically here, without their hard work and commitment to family, I would not be who I am. They emphasize the value of compassion and treating each person with respect. To my mentors and friends, thank you for pushing me to think beyond the confines of what seems possible and constantly invigorating my passion for law and for people. You are constant reminders that we are conduits to serve others and improve what is around us. As I reflected on this recognition and what it has meant to practice law in this community, I thought extensively about the work of a lawyer, but I also spent a significant amount of time thinking about the responsibilities that are inextricably tied to this profession. And what repeatedly caught my mind was our implicit commitment to better our community. When we became licensed as attorneys in New Mexico, in our creed of professionalism, we pledged to be mindful of our commitment to the public good and to commit to the improvement of administration of justice. And of course, we each made an unspoken promise to serve as a beacon for those who need us. This state is unique. New Mexico is a beacon to welcoming and promoting acceptance and diversity. And the people within it are distinct. We are vibrant, loyal, opinionated, driven, strong, and unique. Likewise, our legal community is incomparable because of the bond of its people to this state. It is powerful because of the desire to make our community the best it can be. At its simplest, our diversity allows for an openness to understand one another. And at its height, our diversity pushes us to strive to be better, not only for ourselves, but for one another. It is a sense of awareness that different backgrounds, beliefs, opinions, characteristics, and persons are essential to complete understanding and to make us well-rounded advocates. Our openness of mind, concept, and heart is essential to be an effective lawyer. New Mexico has historically made efforts to assure our leaders reflect the composition of our community, and many of us stand tall because of that commitment. PLSI, the Pre-Law Summer Institute for American Indians and Alaska Natives, is a staple that assists in ensuring that our profession reflects the composition of our community. Likewise, we have been an example for progress, such as Patricia Madrid's 1998 election as the first Hispanic woman to serve as Attorney General in the United States. In 1998, Justice Petra Jimenez Mayes was the first female Hispanic to serve on our state Supreme Court and serve twice as Chief Justice. More recently, New Mexico was the first state to elect all women of color to the House. Though we have made progress, we remain capable of more, and it is our responsibility to do more. Here in our minority-majority state, it can become easy to think we have a balanced amount and a well-represented number of minority lawyers in our profession. However, compared to statistics across the country, Latinas comprise 2% of all lawyers, even though they represent nearly 1 in 5 women in the United States. I will never forget the first time I attended court as a lawyer here in New Mexico, and I was asked by court personnel if I was waiting to be arraigned. Yes, we still have room for continued progress. As our day-to-day can be overwhelming, it is easy to ignore what is not felt to be an immediate priority. When this happens, complacency steps in. Unfortunately, it seems that most positive change that takes years of arduous work can change backwards in a fraction of that time. In the past several years, we have seen our highest court make decisions narrowing our diversity of perspectives with the ultimate effect of narrowing understanding, acceptance, and growth. In Students for Fair Admissions versus Harvard and Students for Fair Admissions versus UNC, the court again narrowed the ability for minorities to be given the chance for a seat at the table. And as Justice Sotomayor aptly stated, the court rolled back decades of precedent and momentous progress. Recent years have shown how quickly progress can be decimated when it took massive and long-fought efforts to obtain. I hope that the drive that ignites you to fight for your clients is the same drive that ignites you to sustain and work for continued progress in the unique gem that is our community. Let us not take this vibrant community for granted. Take the time to extend yourselves and to invest. Let us continue to build the way for acceptance, uplifting one another, and using our abilities to make this an even better place to work, live, and thrive. Progress of one does not equal the detriment of another, and no one benefits from ignorance. I have met and been lucky to work with a number of you through litigation, community work, and outreach. And as I now develop my own firm, I look forward to continuing these interactions, whether partnering together, writing, teaming up as co-counsel, or even through advocacy. In closing, as my dear friend Ben Smith and I would often ponder in the law school forum, let us promise to ourselves that we will do better, be better, and leave each place better than we found it.
Well, congratulations, Larissa. And now we turn to our first Distinguished Achievement Award, and it goes to Benny Naranjo. Benny was a son of a noted Rio Arriba politician by the name of Emilio Naranjo. And following the political influence of his father, Benny served as both sheriff and magistrate judge in Rio Arriba County. He was an eyewitness to and taken hostage at the 1967 Tierra Amarilla courthouse raid. And the following year, Benny served as a delegate to the 1968 Democratic Convention in Chicago. While Benny could have followed his father in Rio Arriba politics, in his early 30s, he instead chose to go to law school. And while attending the UNM Law School, his background and prominence of the Naranjo name in New Mexico politics allowed him to play a major role in the 1973 ratification of the New Mexico Equal Rights Amendment. Okay. Benny and I started at the law school in the same year, 1972. Although he left after 3 years when he graduated, and it took me 40 years to leave and retire. The years he attended the law school were times of major changes in legal education at UNM and nationwide. Women started enrolling in greater numbers. The number of minority students increased. Clinical education became a part of the curriculum, and the faculty added its first minority and women professors. It was also a time of student-faculty interaction. I bet, Benny, you remember Ditch Day, the Matanza, Trick or Drink, and the Skit Party. If any of you do not know what those were, they were events that got faculty and students together. Like ditch day, the students would kidnap the faculty, take them to breakfast, and then take them to a ballpark to play volleyball and baseball. Trick or drink, I probably don't have to explain in that much. The skit party was essentially a party where the students roasted the faculty. The sense of community between students and faculty in those days was in part due to the fact that the faculty was younger, the students were older, primarily because many of Vietnam veterans were returning and going to law school, and because Fred Hart was the dean at the time, and he viewed the law school as one big family and fostered that. After graduating in 1975, Benny became a sole practitioner, handling cases of all types throughout the state. And if the case was interesting or placed in front of a jury, he wanted to take it. He never turned down clients for lack of funds, and if they had a case, he was willing to take it. He passed up political opportunities and offers from law firms to work as an independent sole practitioner to represent clients he felt most needed a voice. Following his time in private practice, Benny was asked to become an assistant district attorney in the 13th Judicial District, serving Sandoval, Cibola, and Valencia counties. Early on, Benny noticed the scourge of methamphetamine in the community and its devastating effects. He educated himself on the issue and passionately crusaded at schools, courthouses, and anywhere people would listen about the dangers of meth. Even after leaving the district attorney's office, he continued to make sure education was available on substance abuse and how those affected could seek help. In retirement, Benny remains an active member of the community. He has volunteered at legal clinics, still takes cases here and there, and has advised land grant holders on land grant issues. While he has pursued his own passion in the legal field, he has always been active in local and state politics, and his advice is still often sought by candidates in the Democratic Party. Yet, he is a strong believer that the right person for the job, regardless of political affiliation, should be the one to get the job. Well, Benny's life was not all work and no play. He loved fly fishing, and he even tied his own flies when his eyesight was good enough to do so. He found fishing in New Mexico streams to be the perfect respite from law. So Benny dedicated his life to helping his community. He was a mentor to many young lawyers, helping them navigate the New Mexico court system. He was passionate about the betterment of his community and compassionate to those needing help. He is that rare individual who is recognizable by one name, Benny. And tonight it is our pleasure to honor someone who has done so much for others. Please set your attention to the screen for a little bit more about Benny Naranjo.
Benny has had such a prominent role, not just in Albuquerque, but in New Mexico. If you go to northern New Mexico and you mention the name Benny Naranjo, they know who you're talking about. I came to law school in 1972, and Benny was in our first year class, and he lived right across the street from the law school. And he almost immediately took us under his wing. Benny had had some political experience, some life experience that many of us who were first-generation law students, let alone first-generation college students, gone straight through college and into law school, could really benefit from. And Benny was so kind. That's the first thing that struck me about Benny. He was a very kindly person. He wanted to make sure everybody was okay. When he'd come to school every morning, he'd check on everybody, look everybody in the eye, shake hands, slap them on the back, make sure everybody's okay. When there was hesitancy, he'd talk to them and make sure that everybody was on the right track. And he's been that way as long as I've known him.
I got to town in January of 1981 and started practicing in Metro Court. And Benny Naranjo practiced a fair bit in Metro Court. I mean, he had an office that was just a couple blocks away, and he came in pretty often. And I was, really kind of wet around the ears. Benny was one of those lawyers who would be kind to a new lawyer, and he was. and we got to be friends. You know, he's a hard guy not to be a friend of.
When I met Benny Naranjo, I didn't know anything about his background. I moved here from Colorado, knew nothing of his family, nothing about him. And the first thing I knew about him was that he knew good places to eat. And also, when I would go with him to a restaurant, people knew him. He knew people. And that was always the first name, Benny. He seemed to be one of these people known by his first name. And that's how I first got to know him.
If I had to describe Benny in just 3 words, I couldn't. But if I had to pick 3, I'd say he is warm. He is supportive, and most of all, he is kind. He goes out of his way to make sure that people are comfortable. He goes out of his way to make sure that everybody is on track. If he senses tension, he's a very good person at talking people off the ledge. I saw him do that with my law students. I've seen him do that with his opponents in law practice, and with me a couple of times, I have to admit.
Well, thinking about Benny, I mean, one word that would come to mind certainly is commitment. I mean, Benny's practice when I knew him, through Metro Court mostly, he had, in a sense, a small practice. He had clients who had very mundane problems, but serious ones. And a lot of these people didn't have an awful lot of money. Benny comes from Rio Arriba County, which is not a very well-to-do county. But he would always try to, work things out when they were difficult and have a conversation on behalf of his client. He was always honest. I mean, and the way he felt about people was absolutely genuine. I mean, his heart went into his practice and was extended to, certainly to his clients, but the people that he dealt with too.
We were prosecutors together, and I had moved here from Colorado. I didn't particularly know the New Mexico court system, so he immediately, I felt like he took me under his wing and helped me get to know the New Mexico court system better. So he was a mentor, and I think many of the young people in the DA's office, he was a mentor to them as well. He's the kind of guy who is a living role model of being a prosecutor. Your heart's got to be in the right place. If you're going to do justice, your heart's going to be in the right place. You got to temper it with mercy. And Benny was a living example of how you do that. And that made him very special.
If I was asked what Benny's greatest legal accomplishment was, I would think that I would just have to say his persistent commitment to justice. There's not one case I can point to. I can point to a lifetime of helping people and making sure that the system worked for everybody. So I can't tell you one. I think it would be not fair to Benny to try to pick out one.
So I think it's an accomplishment to come into court with clients who don't have a lot of money, who are absolutely salt of the earth people, and Benny is too. I know that when you have to keep yourself afloat in kind of a small practice, and when things come in the door, it's a situation where those lawyers and the lawyers who care about their clients and continually exhibit that every time they come to court are really doing the law a great service. And that's a gift I think that Benny gave to the law, and I think it's that he certainly gave to the courts.
When I was starting in the DA's office in Los Lunas, there were attorneys there, baby attorneys just out of law school. Who did the young ones gravitate to? Who did the older ones gravitate to? It was Benny Naranjo. He had a certain outlook on how you should handle a case and what's important in a case. And his heart was in the right place. There were definitely other attorneys, younger attorneys, inspired them as well, and that was all part of the Benny magic.
What I can remember just off the top of my head is he was so popular among the students, and especially among the minority students. When we'd be sitting, gathered, waiting for class to start, and Benny would come in, the room would light up, And one of our friends, Jesus Lopez, nicknamed him Benny and the Jets. And so we could hear, if we heard Benny and the Jets, we knew Benny was here, and everybody would get excited, ready to go to school, because Benny was here. He would organize informal get-togethers after classes. I'm telling you, he was not just a role model for us, but he was making sure that we all stayed connected, that we stayed coherent, we stayed together as a group.
I am the person who nominated Benny Naranjo. He's an amazing person, and I am delighted that he is being recognized tonight.
Benny's deserving of this award not only because of all of his achievements, not only because of the kindness that he's shown to everyone, but because he has continued to serve as a role model. I was honored to be able to move for his admission to the practice of law in New Mexico, and Benny has helped me and helped so many people. I love Benny Naranjo. You guys couldn't have picked a better person for this award.
I remember thinking the moment I got the email from, from Justice V. Hill that Benny was up for this award, that there was something profoundly right about it. I mean, Benny is one of those lawyers who is a lawyer for other people. He doesn't think about getting rich from it. He doesn't think about handling gigantic cases that'll make an awful lot of law. He does think an awful lot about using the law to the best advantage of his clients and to the best service of being a lawyer. And also he comes from the community and he represents people. And UNM has always prided itself on having lawyers come out of this school that have that ideal. And Benny is one of those people who never is far from that idea. And I think that that's something that this law school should be honoring.
Hey, Benny, congratulations. We're so happy for you, so proud of you. I love you, Benny. Thank you for all you've done for me and everybody else.
Benny, I am delighted to be here to speak for you tonight. You richly deserve this award. It was a long time coming, and it's been a pleasure and a privilege to know you over the years, and I really appreciate everything you've done for me.
Benny, it's been an awful long time that we've known each other. It's been an awful long time that we've been friends. It's been an awful long time that I have known you and your work and the way you care about being a lawyer and the way you care about what a lawyer can do. And for that, I thank you for being an example and a friend, and I hope one of these days we're going to get to go fishing. And if your hands don't work so much, so well anymore, like the last time you said, I can still tie flies, and just give me a call and tell me what you need. Thanks.
So please join me in congratulating our 2023 Distinguished Achievement Award honoree, Benny Naranjo. Would you please come to the stage?
I can't believe that was me that we're talking about. Surely it's not. Anyway, folks, most of you may not know me, and I probably don't know most of you anymore, because the ones I knew have mostly passed. The judges that I worked with, that I admired, and I enjoyed their knowledge and their compassion and their help, because they were helpful. The judges can be helpful for you out in the hallway or in their offices. But anyway, the fact is this: I have tried to do what I have always was in my heart to do. It was not my intention to be an attorney, so I was not here to chase the dollar. My intention was to be a forest ranger, because my grandfather had been a forest ranger. And yes, Roderick, that's where I learned to fish and tie flies and all that other good stuff. Anyway, so that was, but I came to Albuquerque because my mother believed so much in education that all her life she wanted a high school diploma. That's all, a high school diploma. She had dropped out of the 11th grade to marry my dad, and so she never finished. And in those years, back where we come from, they didn't have adult education like they did perhaps here in Albuquerque or Santa Fe. And so she could never get that done, and she never did. But she installed in me that thirst, that thirst for knowledge, the thirst to know, the thirst to curiosity and to explore and find out. And so I have always thought this, my life is really a continuing legal education, you know, CLE, but I call mine a continuing life education. Every day I learn something, and I pile it on top of some other knowledge that I already have, and I go along the way, learning and experiencing. And when we get enough experience, I hope that that gives us some kind of wisdom. And all I have ever practiced all my life is common sense, decency and common sense. I love people, I like people. I like to watch them on the streets. I like to watch them even now, sitting there. It's great to look at you, because you are the human race. You are part of me, and I am part of you. And so I have done what I can, but the biggest accomplishment, as far as I'm concerned, is that I am standing here before you alive and well. And as for my dear friends, the best people in the world I have now are those sitting with me at my table. Roderick Kennedy, I met a long time ago, and I took a liking to him. I had a feeling he had character, that he was solid, a good person, decency. I could sense it in him. And yes, Rod, I did help you when you ran for office. You were a Republican, but I didn't care. You were a good person, a good man. And I'm honored, of course, to be here with Nakamura. I know her. I have a picture of her in my mind's eye. When they were building the Metropolitan Court downtown, the new one, there was this person that would be sitting there at the construction fence. They fence out the work area so people won't fall in or get in the way. And there'd be this lady there all the time with her hands on her arm, looking into the hole where they were going to build a foundation. And I'd be on my way to court, and I'd see her there. I'd be on my way back from court. I'd see her there sometimes. And one time she happened to turn around, and I recognized her. I know who it was. It was Judith Nakamura, the judge. She wanted that courthouse built so badly and quickly, like overnight. You know? And so she has served the state of New Mexico and served us well. And I'm happy and I'm proud of her. I'm proud to be here with her. These other young ladies that are being honored, I don't know them. But I wish them well. I wish them well. Be faithful, be kind, be generous, and be thankful. Be kind to yourself first, and then be kind to others. Do that, and I think we'll be better off. We're under a great deal of stress today as a society. I am very concerned with what's going on in the world right now. I'm really bothered by it, in fact. And I cannot understand how one person can create so much problems and have us in such turmoil as we have going now. I don't need to name that person for you. You know it. So be aware, but also be hopeful and have faith. And I thank you very much. Thank you.
Our second Distinguished Achievement Award goes to Alicia Gutierrez. Alicia has a strong and long history with the UNM School of Law, being one of 4 in the Gutierrez family who have graduated from our law school. Her father, Avelino V. Gutierrez, was part of the first graduating class of 1950. Her brother, Avelino A. Gutierrez, graduated in 1985, followed closely by Alicia in 1986. Then her son, Andres Rivera, graduated in the class of 2020. It could be said that the UNM School of Law runs in her family. But what does that sound like? Legacy admissions? But we do it right. We do not expect huge donations for the admission of alumni children. We just accept good applicants with good last names, like Gutierrez, Hart, Parnell, Oculino. 4 Harts related to Fred Hart have law degrees from UNM. Ted Parnell has 2 sons who graduated from UNM. Does Hurt Colbert come to mind? Ted Oculino has 2 daughters who got their law degrees from UNM. But I can say that I am pure because our son chose to not apply to UNM. He told me, I can't go to a law school where my father is a dean and I know half of the faculty by their first names. So I ended up paying a lot more for his legal education. But seriously, having multiple generations of Harts and Gutierrez's and others, alumni, as graduates of the law school, reflect the strength of our school. Our alumni know the value of a UNM law school education and encourage their children to come here. Well, Alicia graduated from the Robert O. Anderson School of Business in 1981, and after receiving her law degree, she began work with her father, Avelino Gutierrez. Realizing her passion for representing business and banking clients, Alicia accepted an associate position at Moses, Dunn, Farmer, and Tuthill Law Firm in 1988. She became a shareholder in 1991, and she was the only female attorney in the firm for 12 years, and she is the longest-serving female shareholder since its inception in 1954. In 2018, she was elected president, making her the first woman president of the Moses Dunn Law Firm in its 69 years of existence. Alicia received the Martindale-Hubbell AV Preeminent Attorney designation in 2005 as a top-rated attorney for labor and employment law. She's been active in the American Bar Association, serving on the editorial board of the publication Business Law Today, and she's also been active in the New Mexico State Bar, serving as chair of the Business Law section. In 2020, Alicia was inducted into the UNM Anderson School of Management Hall of Fame and was recognized in the Who's Who in Law for 2023 by Albuquerque Business First. Alicia's contributions also extend to our community. She has been active on City of Albuquerque boards, serving on the Albuquerque Airport Advisory Board, the Albuquerque Personnel Board, and as trustee for the Archdiocese of Santa Fe Catholic Foundation. She also actively provides answers and advice in the La Palusa program, and she is involved in continuing education for the young lawyers of our community. She participates in Bridge the Gap program and enjoys mentoring new associates and young partners in her law firm. One of Alicia's passions is education in our local community. She has served as a board member for a Child's Garden Preschool, the Board of Trustees for Manzano Day School, and Board of Trustees for the Bosque School. Alicia accepted a Board of Director position for Zia Trust in 2018 and was invited to be a member of the Economic Forum in 2022. With her law practice and extensive volunteer work, you might be thinking, does Alicia have time for any fun activities? Well, since she lives in my neighborhood, I called her and asked her what she does outside of her law and volunteer work. And I learned that she plays pickleball every Saturday and Sunday. She lifts weights and enjoys Wednesday night family dinners featuring good New Mexico food. So Alicia Gutierrez has been an exemplary UNM alumna, attorney, and a member of our community. Please turn your attention to the screen to learn more about Alicia.
UNM Law School has a special place in our family because my grandpa was in the first graduating class in 1950 and my mom graduated in 1986. The first I remembered her being a lawyer was actually when I was sick. She would bring me to the firm and she would lay out a nice little mat for us, and we would be able to sleep off our fevers or our coughs, and so we would just be behind her desk while she worked as a lawyer, and that was kind of my first experience knowing that she was a lawyer. And then I remember going down to everybody's office and everybody had a nickname. We had golf ball guy and we had helmet guy, and there's a bunch of nicknames throughout the firm because that's how we associated them.
I met Alicia because her daughter and my son went to the same elementary school. So that's how I first met her. And then shortly thereafter, she appeared in front of me when I was on the bench. And then we became really good friends. My favorite thing about Alicia is that she is a complete and total badass. She is such a badass. And she's been a badass for her whole life.
I've known Alicia for about 37 years. I was at the law firm of Moses, Dunn, Farmer, and Tuthill in 1981. Alicia joined us in 1987, 1988, and first time I had ever met her, and she's been my partner ever since. You know, I've been asked many times what words best describe Alicia, and there's so many that do, but three that come instantly to my mind are competitive, compassionate, and common sense person. By that I mean, you know, she's very competitive, whether it's in the practice of law or athletics or really anything she's involved in. She competes to win and loves the thrill of competition. But, you know, combined with that, you know, she's also compassionate. You know, it's one thing to be a competitive lawyer, but it's also interesting to have that trait of compassion, and she has that. It balances out her competitiveness. And that compassion is shown not only to clients and to staff, but to opposing counsel and opposing parties. And then it's common sense. You know, you would think that a competitive person would want to win at all costs, but Alicia approaches problems and legal disputes with a common sense attitude and a common sense of resolving issues, or having to litigate them if that's what it turns out to be.
Initially, my mom being a lawyer made me not want to be a lawyer. I saw how many hours she worked, how hard it was, how busy she was, how stressed she was, but as I grew older, I really admired her and saw how amazing being a lawyer was, and especially being a lawyer in New Mexico and in Albuquerque in general. The one thing that I love about my mom as a lawyer is the integrity and ethics she brings to the profession and how she is professionally every day and to everybody she's involved with. She doesn't try to hide anything. She's to the point and straight, and so you always know where she stands.
What sets Alicia apart is, first of all, she is the consummate problem solver. I always refer my friends who own small businesses to her, and this is what they tell me, that the case is not about her. She always has her eye on the ball. She's very strategic, thoughtful, hardworking, and incredibly accessible, even though she's got so many things going on. There is nobody better than Alicia in terms of juggling a million balls.
In thinking of the legal accomplishments that Alicia has had, probably the one that stands out the most to me is that she became the first woman president of the firm. You know, the firm's been in existence for 67 plus years and had never had a female as its president. And she's been president now for 3 years and has done really a tremendous job in that role. And so I think that is what would distinguish her, at least within our firm.
When the kids were little, and she was, starting out at the Moses firm, she was working her tail off. She has 2 little kids, and Dennis's business is in Espanola. So he worked during the week in Espanola. So she was basically a single mom while, as women and women of color have to do, working twice as hard to get half as far. And Danielle, her daughter, told me that she had gotten into this argument with her teacher at school because the teacher was married to a lawyer, and the teacher said, lawyers just work all the time, my husband never has any time. And Danielle said, I don't agree with that. My mom's a lawyer. And Danielle said, all I remember is her singing to me, dancing with me, reading to me. And Alicia was getting up, before the kids got up to work, and then after the kids went to sleep, to work. I mean, she just is phenomenal.
She's incredible because not only was she working constantly, but she was so a part of mine and my sister's life. She would not miss a sporting game. She was always the scorekeeper for my basketball team, and since we were a small school, we would travel to every end of the state, including Texaco, and she would be there, and we'd go to Cuba, and she'd be there, and she was always there to support us while being such a great professional and such a great lawyer, too. And right now, being a lawyer, I don't know how she did it, and it's incredible to see and kind of look back on and reflect on, and it's amazing.
She also helps mentor young women in the commercial real estate world. So she is very involved, and she all knows that she's obviously an attorney with the Moses Law Firm, but they also know that she's a graduate of the University of New Mexico. So she is a great example, not only within the university community, but also outside of the university community.
My mom is also so much more than just a lawyer, and she loves sports. She absolutely loves sports. And it's actually funny, my mom and my dad's first date was to play racquetball against each other.
Dennis and Alicia were introduced to each other by his best friend and her brother.
And my dad didn't know that she was a state champion in racquetball.
Her brother wanted them to meet, not necessarily because they were perfect for each other, but he wanted Alicia to beat Dennis in racquetball.
She kicked his ass and beat him at racquetball, and he used excuses, of course, and was like, oh, yeah, I was hurt. But
when Dennis told his best friend that he was going to ask Alicia to marry him, the best friend, he said, are you sure? Alicia's a lot.
UNM Law School is such a special place. It's deep in our family's hearts and in our blood, and it's so special to us. And this award means so much, not only because of it shows how great of a lawyer my mom is, but because of all the work that she's done to help the law school and Albuquerque community, and it's just so special.
Alicia really is a role model for me. I am continually amazed at what she does day in and day out, and she really is what we want New Mexico lawyers to be.
I've been asked, why should Alicia be deserving of this award? And I think the answer is obvious to me, and that is she is the epitome of a law firm leader. She values her success not in what she has accomplished, but what is accomplished with her colleagues, her fellow attorneys, staff, clients. Her success has seen them succeed. And I think that's truly a mark of a real leader in a law firm setting as president. And she certainly has exuded those qualities and has shown that she relishes their successes more than her own.
Alicia, thank you so much for asking me to speak on your behalf. I'm really honored to do so. You are a role model to me, and so deserving of this award.
Alicia, you deserve this award. I've been honored to be your partner for these many years and your friend. This is well deserving, and I hope you enjoy it.
Mom, I'm so proud of you. This is such a cool accomplishment, not only for you, but everybody at your firm. You're just like the whole family. We're all so proud of you, and we were so excited to hear when you first told us, and you really deserve it, and we love you, and we're so proud.
It's now my honor to present the 2023 Distinguished Achievement Award to Alicia Gutierrez. Would you please come up?
Like Benny said, I don't know who they were talking about. Like all lawyers do, I want to start with a disclaimer. I don't like being in the limelight, and so I'm really nervous. So with that said, I'm very honored to be the recipient of the UNM Law School and Alumni Association's Distinguished Achievement Award. When I received the call from Dean Carey, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I was just speechless. I'm humbled to be recognized along with past recipients of the Distinguished Achievement Award. To be in the company of Deans Hart, Leo Romero, Robert Desiderio, Ted Parnell, law school professors such as Mike Browdy, Ted Occolino, justices and judges such as Leroy Hansen, Linda Vancey, Charles Daniels, Mary Walters, Pamela Minsner, and colleagues such as my dear friend Wendy York, Kathy Goldberg, Randy McGinn, Joe Goldberg, Steve Scholl, Tim Sheehan, and many, many others. It's just truly a privilege. I'm thrilled to be recognized with along with the current recipients, the Honorable Judith Nakamura, Benny Naranjo, and Larissa Maizano. Excuse me. I told you I was nervous. I came to find out that my partner, Joe Warrens, nominated me, as well as my comadre, Ada Priest, who is my daughter-in-law's mother. Thank you to you both. I often tell new and expecting parents, the days are long, but the years are short. And I think that's also true with law school and the practice of law. I think of my personal interest in equity started when I grew up here in Albuquerque as a tomboy before Title IX. I still resent that I would be playing pickup basketball games with my brother Avelino and his friends, and they decide they wanted to go to the boys' club because of the weather or because it was getting dark. And I would get so mad because I couldn't walk into the boys' club. Being a tomboy, I'm sure that I was affected by the lack of opportunity that girls and women had compared to boys with structured sports. Did that disparity influence my early belief that equity should be in the norm of our society? Yes. And I know for sure that I really wanted to play basketball at the boys' club with the boys. I think back to my first days in law school in 1983. Even though that was 40 years ago, I remember those days vividly. The days were long, lots of studying and learning to think analytically and applying the analytical thinking to the study of law. Law school was a time where I established lifelong friends. I was so lucky to have study partners and friends like Dixie Johnson. She was one of the brightest people in law school. And Marty Holland, who would remember everything that was said in class or everything that he read. I had to work the hardest so I could study with them. I lived in the library with Felicia Finston, Dave Campbell, Bob Curtis, and other amazing classmates. And not only did I connect with people in my law school class, but with the older class, because my brother, Avelino, was in the class 1 year ahead of me. These are cherished connections that cannot be quantified, and my life has been enriched by each one. Those 3 years of law school flew by. I'm so grateful for the education that I received at the law school. The professors were so dedicated. They gave us the tools to be the best practitioners we could be. Fred Hart wrote the book for secured transactions. Ted Occolino was the preeminent CP professor, and Robert Desiderio was the best contract professor. Professors Occolino and Desiderio were not only my CP and contract professors in my first year of law school in 1983, but also my son Andres's professors in his first year of law school in 2017. The law school is a special place. After law school, the days were long studying for the bar exam. I recall 2 things about the bar exam: lugging my 20-pound Selectra typewriter through the New Mexico Fairgrounds and hearing the clicking and ringing of the typewriters while I was still reading the questions. This, of course, was before computers, and the options were to type the bar or write the answers in the blue book. And I'm sure many people remember blue books. After passing the bar in 1986, I never thought of myself as a female Hispanic attorney. I just thought of myself as a Hispanic woman who practiced law. Immediately after passing the bar, I joined my father's law firm with my brother, who was already working there. My father, Avelino, as you heard, graduated from the first law school class at UNM back in 1950. As I mentioned earlier, my brother Avelino had graduated in '85, the year before me. But I discovered working at the law firm of family practice can be very challenging. My father was very successful, but he had his way of doing things. After a year, I realized I was not going to change my dad. Therefore, I needed to make the change and find a new law firm to practice law. About this time, I started dating my future husband, Dennis Rivera, who was establishing his business in Espanola, where he was born and raised. We talked about where I might consider practicing law, possibly Santa Fe. However, I had applied with the Moses Law Firm. I got an interview and received a job offer in August of 1988. Dennis asked me, "Do you want to work there?" And I told him, yes, I would love to work there. So his response was, "Well, we will make it work." He said he would commute back and forth from Espanola, and that's how it's been for 35 years. Me working at the Moses Law Firm and Dennis living part-time up in Espanola. Even when our children were born, Danielle in 1991 and Andres in 1994, things didn't change. I'm so grateful for the mentoring I received at the Moses Law Firm in my early legal career from Donald Moses, Tom Dunn, Terry Farmer. I've had the privilege to practice for over 35 years with my partner, Joe Warntz, and 34 years with my partner, Mark Glenn. I have been blessed to work with many great partners, associates, and staff, but these two are truly the best people that anyone could be fortunate to call their partners. I'm very proud to be the first woman president and managing shareholder of the Moses Law Firm. And I'm honored to say that we are changing our official name of the law firm as of November 1st to Moses, Farmer, Glenn, Gutierrez, and Warrants, PC. But of course, we'll always be the Moses Law Firm. Beyond being a lawyer, I believe we all have a responsibility to give back to our community. I've never been inclined to pursue elected public service, but I have had the benefit of serving on many boards, which has allowed me to find alternate ways to give back. I was active on the City of Albuquerque boards. I see Mayor Chavez, he got me involved in those boards, serving on the Albuquerque Airport Advisory Board for 6 years, and that was when it was the first remodel of the Sunport, and serving on the Albuquerque Personnel Board for 3 years. I served as a trustee for the Archdiocese of Santa Fe Catholic Foundation just after the foundation was established. I also served on educational boards in the community. I started on the board for a Child's Garden preschool in 1996, and I'm proud to say while I was on that board, we established an endowment for a Child's Garden. I served on the Board of Trustees for Manzano Day School and the Board of Trustees and as the board chair for Bosque School after my kids graduated from Bosque School. One of the most gratifying experiences on Bosque's board was to adopt the diversity, equity, and inclusivity statement for the school community. I presently serve on the board of directors of Zia Trust, the New Mexico Law School 75th Anniversary Steering Committee, and on the mentorship committee of CREW, which mission is advancing women in commercial real estate. As I look back, I have to say the years are short. As a friend of mine says, life is like a roll of toilet paper. The closer you get to the end, the faster it goes. In closing, I must recognize my husband, Dennis Rivera, who has supported me and been my best friend for 36 years. I also want to recognize my brother, Avelino, who was my security blanket in law school and my sounding board since we've been out. It's important to recognize my children, who are my pride and joy. Dr. Danielle Rivera is now in her second year of residency here at UNM in the specialty of pediatric psychiatry. And her boyfriend, Alan Summerall, just got sworn in as a lawyer at UNM Law School last Thursday. My son, Andres Rivera, is a third-year generation UNM Law School graduate and lawyer. He graduated in 2020, 70 years after my father. He is practicing with Esteban Aguilar Sr. And my daughter-in-law, Bailey Rivera, is in her 4th year of medical school here at UNM School of Medicine and is interested in an OB/GYN specialty. We're hoping her residency will be at UNM, as it's wonderful to have our kids in Albuquerque. I also want to thank everyone on the alumni board, especially Sam Adams. She spent a lot of time speaking with me and the individuals interviewed. I'm truly honored. I want to thank everyone who has made and continues to make the law school what it is today. The past and present deans, professors, staff, student, and alumni. If someone asked me what has been the most important in my career as a lawyer and through community service, I would say it's relationships. Whether the relationships are with classmates, educators, clients, partners, staff, co-board members, co-counsel, opposing counsel, judges, friends, or anyone I've met along the way. Those relationships have made my work, the work that I have done, enjoyable and worthwhile. I believe we have an honorable profession that is tasked with helping people with their problems to come up with the best solution, and it is important to do that with care, compassion, and the best counsel you can, which has always been my mantra. Because of the joy of helping people, my years as a lawyer have been short. Thank you again for this honor.
Our last, but in no way least, Distinguished Achievement Award goes to former Chief Justice Judith K. Nakamura. Judy's family moved to New Mexico when she was 12, and in 1983 she graduated from UNM undergraduate school with a Bachelor of Arts and went to work for United States Senator Pete Domenici before working as staff on numerous campaigns and as political director of the Republican Party of New Mexico from 1985 to 1988. Justice Nakamura then attended our law school, and in her third year, her fellow students elected her to be the Student Bar Association president. This election was a portent of her later successes in winning elections. She graduated in 1989 and went to work for the New Mexico Commissioner of Public Lands, eventually serving as its general counsel before entering private practice with the law firm of Miller, Stratford, and Torgerson. Her judicial career began when she was elected to the Bernalillo County Metro Court in 1998. She served as chief judge from 2002 to 2013, and in 2004, Judy was named Judge of the Year by the Albuquerque Bar Association. In 2013, Governor Susana Martinez appointed her to the 2nd Judicial District, and in 2014, she won the partisan election following her appointment. As a district court judge, she earned a reputation as the hardest working judge on the bench. Lawyers who had criminal cases in her court said that she was a tough, no-nonsense judge. Both prosecutors and defense counsel had high praise for the way that she conducted trials. And who can challenge an adverse ruling from Justice Nakamura when she announces her ruling with a broad smile? In 2015, Judge Nakamura was appointed to the New Mexico Supreme Court, and a year later won a statewide race in which she garnered 52% of the vote, an unusual and amazing accomplishment for a Republican in a statewide election in New Mexico. Justice Nakamura was the first Republican to serve on the New Mexico Supreme Court since 1980 and the first Republican woman. Her appointment also created a female majority on the court for the first time in history. While on the court, Justice Nakamura was appointed to the board of the National Courts and Sciences Institute and currently serves on its executive committee. She also served on the executive committee of the Conference of Chief Justices National Judicial Opioid Task Force. She retired from the court in December of 2020. Justice Nakamura is a member of the American Law Institute and currently serves on the board of directors of Think New Mexico. She is also a partner in Forward Solutions, a strategic planning and consulting company. In retirement, former Justice Nakamura, now Judy, has time to devote her talents and her energies to her passion, ballooning. Hot air balloons have been a large part of Judy's life apart from the law. Hot air in the balloons, but never in her judicial rulings. Boo hiss, right. All right. But she has risen from balloon owner and pilot to president of the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta Board of Directors. As you probably read in last Monday's Albuquerque Journal, this year's Balloon Fiesta was a top-notch event, and in today's paper indicated how much this Balloon Fiesta brings to the state of New Mexico and Albuquerque in terms of revenue. The Fiesta's success can be attributed to the good weather and solar eclipse that Judy arranged, although she disclaims any credit for the timing of the eclipse. But if she can win a statewide election in New Mexico as a Republican, she can move heaven and earth, not to mention sun and moon. But Justice Nakamura, okay, Justice Nakamura is a fighter and a survivor. Along with her political victories, she fought and won her battle against breast cancer in 2009. And during her treatment, she was at court every day that she could be, and with the support of her family, fellow judges, and her faithful dog, she came out the other side cancer-free. Justice Nakamura has always been true to her word, and she has stayed true to her beliefs and ideals, showing a true strength of character. She has a vibrant sense of humor and yet a humility that celebrates others before herself. Her many successes, both politically and in her career as a lawyer, judge, and justice, speak to her hard work, dedication, compassion, and resolve. As a dog-loving balloonist with a smile that warms hearts, Judy has had multiple professional and personal successes. As Charlie Daniels, a colleague of Justice Nakamura on the Supreme Court, once said about his race driving and rock band, quote, "Just because you're a lawyer does not mean that you can't boogie." Well, Judy can boogie, and she adds ballooning to her professional accomplishments. Please direct your attention to the screen to learn more about Judy.
I feel like once you start judging people, you become less effective as a lawyer. And so I feel that Judy doesn't judge the people before her. She looks at the facts, she looks at the law, and she applies it. But she's not judging you. Judy is one of my best friends, and I've known her for over 40 years. I was actually Judy's camp counselor. So I was going to college, and my mother told me to get a job, and I lied about my age. I told them I was 18. I was actually 16, and Judy was 15. And so we got to be really good friends. When I was her camp counselor, stayed friends. So I'm a retired lawyer, but Judy and I never practiced together. However, I was the person who moved for her admission, which meant a lot to both of us.
Well, first of all, Judy who? No, Judy and I met in law school, so we were a class of '89, so we've known each other for a lot of years. Then Judy was chief judge of Metro Court when I applied, and we became co-workers or co-judges at Metro Court. She's always been the same. She's always been high energy, and she's always been very intense, always wanting to do the best and see the best that she could do and the best in people.
So I met Judy probably when I first got on the bench in 2004, but by then Judy had already been a judge for what seemed like forever. And I got to know her then, but I really got to know her well when we were both chief judges. She was the Chief Justice on the Supreme Court, and I was the Chief Judge on the Court of Appeals. What struck me when we were both chiefs was how like-minded we were. It shocked me. I didn't know her very well, but both of us had this passion for expecting the best of not only the courts we were on, but for the judiciary as a whole. And from that moment on, we worked really well together, and I learned so much from her.
To me, Judy isn't a celebrity. Judy is my friend. She's my very good friend, and our families are close, and we support each other. When my parents died and I had to take everything out of their house in Belen, Judy actually cleared her entire Friday schedule from Metro Court and came down and helped me pack. That is a good friend.
First and foremost, I think people don't realize that Judy is really caring. She really cares about the courts. She really cares about people. And as a Metropolitan Court judge, that's where she wanted to be often, because that's where you make the biggest difference. With Metro Court, there's a lot of redeeming qualities, because that's where a lot of rehabilitation can occur. When you get beyond that, it's sometimes about punishment, and it's not so much about rehabilitation. So Metro Court was really about making a difference in the community, and that's what Judy wanted to do, is really make a difference in the community. She cared about the employees. She cared about the courts generally and the court's reputation. She was just an incredibly hard worker and intense as far as work goes. And you can see that she's a perfectionist, and she has to be the top in the field.
Judy will do anything for anyone. When I speak of generosity, I don't mean just that she gives people things. She's generous with her time in a way that most judges are not. And I think, I think of stories about her on the Metro Court, and the amount of time she spent, especially she was on the criminal bench, the times that she spent with people who came before her. You know, they stop her on the street, mothers, daughters, sons, and thank her for what she did for them when she was a judge on the Metro Court. That's generosity.
She generates that same kind of camaraderie and understanding and appreciation with her staff at the Supreme Court, who just loved her, and then the Metro Court staff loved her, and the balloon crew. We all love her. She's a really effective leader and creates a really effective team. Right. I know that that's what she's done in the legal community, because during her tenure on the Supreme Court, I went to a number of events with her, and I saw how much she was respected and liked by the staff, not just her staff, but the other staff members at the Supreme Court.
I can think of another time when she was actually leaving this dinner, I think maybe 2 years ago, and she got to the intersection of I-25 and Lomas, and there was a car wreck. And somebody else from the dinner had been rear-ended. She stopped her car. It was 10 o'clock at night. She was alone. She stopped her car. She got out to help, waited until the ambulance got there, and then told the person, take my car. I'll just get an Uber and go home on an Uber. You know, not many of us would do that. That's the type of person she is.
We all have our days. We all have our moments. And Judy could be tough. And the defendants felt that she could be tough. The attorneys felt that she could be tough. Employees felt that she could be tough. That being said, when everything was said and done, the attorneys always thought she was fair. The defendants thought she was fair. And employees always thought she was fair. And then when Judy left as the chief judge of Metro Court, the employees would have come up to me and say, we miss Judy, we want her back. So oftentimes you didn't appreciate all that she did until, she had left or gone, because no one knew how much she was actually doing.
My favorite thing about her is her sense of humor. She is hilarious. I encourage anybody who doesn't think she's funny to go spend a little bit of time with her. And she directs all her humor toward herself. She makes fun of herself all the time. So that is one of the things that I just absolutely love about her.
Something you may not know about Judy is that she is a dedicated golfer, and she takes it very seriously. She tries her best, and she's tenacious. One time we were golfing at Inn of the Mountain Gods, and she had to hit a shot over to an island, and it went in the water. So she did another and another. Finally, I said, Judy, just stop, you're not gonna do it. We can drop over there. And she says, no, I've got this. And finally the fourth ball went in the water, and she agreed.
I think she's so deserving of this award. I can't imagine why she hasn't gotten it a whole lot earlier. What Judy has done for this community, for the judiciary, you know, she's so passionate. And it's not that sort of abstract or academic passion that people have. Hers is on the ground. Everything she is passionate about is geared toward making a better place for the people that we're serving in this state through the judiciary. And her passion extends to her life as well. She has a very rich life outside of the judiciary with friends and hobbies and things that she likes. She's the complete package.
I guess my favorite characteristic of Judy is that she is so caring and she really wants to see other people succeed. It's not about her, it's about others. There's no question that you can't find a better person or candidate for being celebrated as a distinguished UNM Law School alumni.
I wasn't surprised that she was being honored at all, because I think she is a wonderful friend, one of my very best friends, and but I admire her so much as a person, because as I said, everything she does, she tries to do to the very best of her ability, and she doesn't give up.
Judy, I am so happy and honored that you asked me to speak for you today. I can't think of a better person to get this award, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. You really do deserve this.
And Judy, I just wanted to tell you that it's a true honor to be your friend, that I have the utmost respect for you. I always have. No one works harder, no one works more diligently than you do. No one deserves this award more than you, so celebrate it, enjoy it. Good luck.
Judy, I am so delighted to be able to talk about you and to talk about our 48 years of friendship and how much you mean to me. And I want you to enjoy this honor and know that there's so many people that support you and are so proud of you. Love you.
So please join me in honoring former Chief Justice Judith K. Nakamura for the 2023 Distinguished Achievement Award. And would you please come up here? Congratulations. Very good. Thank you. Thank you. I'm honored to have you here.
Thank you, thank you. Oh, wow. Thank you, Dean, Professor, my Crim Pro professor. Thank you, my dear friends, Judge Vanzi, Judge Valdez, Ruth Davey. She's right, I'm a crappy golfer. Can't believe how expensive those balls are when I just every hole, 4 balls. You know, none of us get to see this video before it's played, so you never know quite what's going to happen. And I certainly want to thank all of my friends for the generosity of your words and time in helping make this such a special evening. You know, as a trial judge, as a trial lawyer, I really do get the importance of choosing the right words to describe moments in time. Moments like this, these meaningful, really hard to describe moments. And the best I can do, and I know how trite it sounds, is simply tell you how humbled I am tonight. It's humbling to receive an award in the presence of so many of you esteemed, respected business and community leaders, and in front of so many people I actually consider the giants of the New Mexico legal profession, the people I always looked up to in the legal profession. So thank you all for your presence tonight. So Dean Carey gives me this call in August to tell me I was receiving this award. I see her name pop up on my cell phone. I thought, oh, she's calling me to make some recruitment calls, serve on a committee. So I wasn't going to answer it, Dean. But no, I'm just kidding. Really, I'm kidding. I answered it, okay? But certainly, her calling about this honor was the furthest thing from my mind. I really have felt undeserving of this recognition.
since she told me about it. So seeking some understanding of why me, I did what Judge Vanzie did last year when she got this award. I decided to read the initial biographies that the law school posted about each recipient. And we all know, and we've heard about Benny. And Benny, I don't know why you didn't join me at that fence. It was like watching paint dry. But we know about Benny and Alicia's volunteer efforts helping clients who would otherwise go without legal representation because of their lack of resources or their efforts in the administration of the legal profession. Larissa Lozano, everything I've read and heard about you makes clear that one day you'll be receiving this award as well. So I congratulate each of you. So then I read my biography, still searching for the answer, and it deepened my puzzlement. But then I got to the second sentence of my bio, and it did say she was elected to the Bernalillo County Metro Court in 1998 as a Republican, and so it's this Republican thing that has distinguished me. So I got my clarity. Seriously, though, I really am privileged in so many ways tonight. I mean, to be receiving an award from the Alumni Association of your alma mater, the organization and the institution that has contributed to much of the development of this close-knit legal community and the well-being and governance of the community at every elected level. So thank you for helping me acquire the legal acumen needed to navigate the difficulties of our profession and the judiciary. I feel I am also privileged to be included amongst those who have received this award since its inception in 1993, including my former colleagues, Rand Miller, Justices Ed Chavez, and the late Charlie Daniels, who was also one of my professors as well. You know, I really did learn so much from each of them, and not just about this substantive and procedural law, but about the importance of civility and ethics in our profession. Rand Miller, I see you out there, and some of my Miller colleagues. I especially want to thank you and Alan and Bill, not just for instilling in me these values, but for giving me the room and support that I needed to pursue a career in the judiciary. So thank you for that. And while I accept this award with deep gratitude, I do so really on behalf of so many others without whom I would not be here tonight. Noel Sauer, I know you're out there. I am so grateful to you for this nomination. I'm grateful to you and your entire family for all the help you gave me to achieve the positions I did throughout the judiciary, and I thank you. So my journey to and through the judiciary and ultimately to the Supreme Court, it really was unplanned. It was met with many challenges, and any measure of success I enjoyed while serving the judiciary was equally attributable to my staff, and I really feel like my staff was, throughout my professional career, has just been one of the best parts of being a judge. My Colleen Clevenger, my administrative support at all three courts, Sarah Shore, Jeremy Farris, Chris Ryan, they were my attorney law clerks, Deborah Dungren, the attorney administrator to the Chief Justice. They had a passion for the judiciary. They had incredible skill and hard work. It was just simply unmatched and really inspiring to me. I really want to thank my family, wrong family, this family, thank you for being here for Alicia. But I want to thank my family for your presence here tonight. Being an attorney, being a judge, demands of one courage, integrity, and the ability to stand up for what we believe in. And these are values that are instilled in us by others. And for me, that person was primarily my mom, Juanita Lorenco. She's had an incredible amount of health challenges. She's 89, but don't ask her. She'll tell you she's 92. She just gets it backwards. You look great, Mom. And as a child, I watched my mom. She showed up again and again and again, did everything that needs to be done to raise 4 kids, mostly as a single mom. And I want to thank my mom because she taught me to be inquisitive. She pushed me to achieve what I thought I couldn't. So thank you, Mom. Thank you. My siblings are here, and I want to recognize my siblings, Steve Nakamura, Dawn Nakamura-Kessler. They always strengthen my resolve by constantly challenging and questioning everything I did. Only as siblings can. Catherine Campbell, I am indebted to you for your trust and your faith while I pursued opportunities of a lifetime. I certainly Certainly any success we achieve in our lives depends on the efforts of others, and that has certainly been true in my life. So let me wrap this up. You know, when I was thinking about my remarks tonight, I thought of what others say when they receive awards, and in my mind sort of strayed to the entertainment industry. You know how they always stray into unrelated topics, unrelated to the award, so I thought, why not? So here I go. And while it's certainly uncomfortable receiving recognition for the privilege of serving your community as an elected official, it has presented me with the opportunity to encourage you to consider elected office. I do hope that in this room, I hope that in our lives, we know the people who will step up and fill the void of candidates willing to address the problems that are percolating in our society. People who are willing to help change the tone of our political discourse, which in turn will hopefully encourage others to seek elected office who are currently dissuaded by the tone of the current conversation. I've told people embarking on their careers or seeking change that often through a stroke of serendipity, we are presented with new, never conceived of opportunities. And the only question is whether we have the fortitude to choose a new path. So when considering the forks in the road and what you can do to create positive change, I ask you to remember the words of cultural anthropologist Margaret Mead. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. I am deeply moved with tonight's recognition. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Well, it has been my honor to present the awards this evening, and can we have one more round of applause for all of our honorees? For our conclusion this evening, I would like to invite to the stage the co-chairs of this Distinguished Achievement Award Dinner Committee. From the Alumni Board, Sam Adams and Steve Scholl.
I can do it. I didn't trip. Oh my God. I didn't catch my dress. Okay. We're good.
Thank you, thank you.
No, you went first.
No, you're going first.
You're supposed to be first.
I thought you were first.
You're older. He's way
That's enough of that.
Way
yeah,
older.
Not way older.
Okay, I'm tiny.
Samantha, stop it. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone, for being here. This is what makes this a success. It's your willingness to come share an evening honoring these great recipients of the award tonight. And digging into your pockets to help support the students with these scholarships that makes this all really worthwhile. And we thank you for that. I also want to give a couple other thanks before Sam closes us up tonight. Tony Anderson at the law school. Where's Tony?
Yes, he's there.
Where are you at?
Dude,
He
stand.
does.
No,
Tony.
come here. No. Tony Anderson, please report to me. Tony Anderson, please report to me.
Here. Tony does all these videos. He has for years and years. It's always really fun. Sam is instrumental in that too.
They get like a tiny little part.
Yeah, they work really hard to make these tribute films the success that they are.
No, seriously, he's like brilliant. He does all of the editing and he cuts out all of my stupid the stupid things that I say.
It's a lot.
It's a big job. Big job. Any of the judges who, in front of whom I've practiced, know that it's a big job to get me to be quiet.
Lynn Taylor, Courtney Holmes, where are you guys at? Come up here real quick. They're out here somewhere. Come here. Look at that.
This is particularly important because this is actually our new crew. And so we want you to actually see, connect faces with names. So this is, I don't actually know your
Taylor's giving you
specific titles, but they're like the shit. We'll just say it like that. No, seriously, in terms of alumni and raising awareness and developing energy, and really, they put this dinner together without knowing actually how this works.
Never been to one, never seen one, didn't know what was coming, and they're new in these roles at UNM, and they put this together and did a remarkable job. Thank
So,
you guys
please.
so much.
And we want you to recognize them because they are committed to us and our mission, which is to raise money for scholarships. So that's why we do this. So, Tony,
Yes.
Len, Courtney, thank you.
Thank
you
you all
did
so
this.
much.
Seriously, thank you. Okay.
And that's it? Thank you. And you're going to say?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let Sam wrap it up, but I want to say thank you one and all for being here. Hang around for a few minutes. They'll kick us out eventually, but thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing with us, and carry on.
All right. So just last note, and I have to reiterate that I do ask the questions, so I'm the person that the folks are speaking to typically on the videos, but Tony really is the person who makes it sound good. And I get a lot of credit, and I appreciate that because I do spend some time, but Tony's really the brilliance behind it. So I just want to make sure that everybody knows that. I have like maybe 25 or 30% of this, but it's really him. So thank you, Tony. You're amazing. But on that note, we usually call for nominations much later about maybe in spring. We're gonna do it now. So nominations for next year open on November 1st, and they close on February 15th. So we would love for you to get super psyched. I just saw Lisa. Lisa, you've got somebody in mind. I see it. Lisa Correa is gonna nominate somebody immediately. But we would love for you to take the momentum from tonight, and if you were inspired by the brilliance of Benny and Alicia and Judy and Larissa, please think about who else we can honor, because we always have a number of really amazing people, but it's really lovely to like really think about who else represents us and what we want to represent our community. And that's what the alumni are doing together. So call for nominations November 1st, closes February 15th, and we would love to hear from you. So anything else, Mr. Scholl?
I think that's it.
All right. Good night.
Carry on.